A group of 6 tourists set out to conquer a remote, snow-covered peak in the Siberian mountains. Leading them was an experienced guide, Ivan, with dozens of successful climbs under his belt. Everything started perfectly. They climbed above the clouds, breathing the crisp, thin air, and taking in breathtaking views. But mountain weather is unpredictable, and by the 3rd day, everything changed. The storm hit suddenly. The wind howled with such ferocity that the tents barely held together. Snow blanketed everything, and visibility dropped to 0. The group decided to wait it out. One day turned into another, then another. The storm showed no signs of letting up. By the 7th day, it was clear they couldn't wait any longer. Supplies were running out. "We're heading back," Ivan declared, but his words felt hollow. The navigator had died from the freezing cold, and their map had been lost to the snow. They trudged blindly through the blizzard, battling winds that felt alive, as if the mountains themselves were trying to stop them. By the 3rd day of their descent, their strength began to fail. The temperature plummeted further. Fingers went numb, skin cracked, and every breath scorched their lungs. One of the tourists, a young man named Sergei, stumbled and fell. They helped him up, but he could no longer walk. "Leave me," he said in a raspy voice. Ivan protested, but the group knew. If they slowed down, they'd all die. They left Sergei behind on the 4th night. A strange silence fell over their camp. The howling wind stopped. It felt as though the storm itself was listening. That night, Anna, the youngest of the group, swore she heard footsteps outside their tent. "Something's out there," she whispered, trembling. In the morning, there were no tracks, but the feeling that they were being watched lingered. By the 5th day, the food was gone. The gnawing hunger was unbearable. One of the tourists, Andrei, claimed he saw a light in the distance. "It's a village," he shouted and ran off before anyone could stop him. Andrei never returned. On the 6th day, only 4 of them were left. Their faces were swollen, and their bodies had wasted away. That night, Anna woke the group with a scream. "They're here. They're coming for us," she cried, shaking with fear. No one knew who they were, but everyone heard the slow, deliberate crunch of footsteps in the snow outside. No one dared to look. The 7th day was their last. One by one, they succumbed to the cold and despair. Ivan was the last to go. He sat outside their snow-covered shelter, clutching his frost-bitten arm. The wind howled, but now it carried voices. "It's your fault. You brought them here. You knew the mountains take those who disrespect them." When the rescue team finally found them a month later, they were greeted by a chilling sight. The tents had been torn apart, the bodies scattered, and strange symbols were carved into the snow around them, as if drawn by a hand that had never seen written language. Ivan's body was found off to the side, a frozen smile etched on his face. In his hand was a scrap of ice, inscribed with trembling letters. "The mountains took us. They do not forgive."